Hello everybody, the tech tool I want to talk about today is called Grammarly. It's a little bit different than the other tech tools that I've seen that are made specifically for people with disabilities. Grammarly can basically help everybody. Unless you are 100% perfect with grammar, which I am not. So I use Grammarly all the time, and I've used it in many other schools and with other students, and it really is a lifesaver for writing things and wanting to make yourself understood a little bit better, and making sure that you don't have really dumb mistakes in your writing. For students with disabilities, this could help a lot of people, especially if a student has anxiety about writing essays, or if they have the disconnect between spoken language and written language, because spoken language has a lot of things that are not quite as important as they are in written language. So like if you're just saying, I went over there, and you use the THEIR, audibly it doesn't sound any different and is correct. But if you write it down like that, you have the wrong there, and then your language is incorrect. So that's a really frustrating thing for a lot of students, and Grammarly just helps alleviate that stress, and so students can actually write about what they're supposed to be focusing on instead of stressing about their ability to write it down. So students that get frustrated easily, students that have that disconnect between spoken language and written language, students that have trouble communicating, and this isn't a disability, but English language learners would definitely value this. This would help everyone's writing generally, just because it helps with all those little rules and different little things that you might not think about when you speak, but when you write is very important. So it helps anxiety, it helps basically everybody. So what you got to do is you can just type in Grammarly on Google, and then it'll bring you to the free writing assistant, and from here you can download it, but I already have it downloaded, so it'll look different, so I'm not going to bring you to that page. So let's get to the little demo for Grammarly. So for example, like the quick brown fox jump over the lazy dog, that hits our ear wrong. Grammarly knows that it's supposed to be jumps or jumped, and then we'll tell you to fix it. And like if you have this apostrophe, you need an apostrophe here, and then it's correct. And then that belongs to them, it is theirs. So this one actually Grammarly did not correct, so that is one of the flaws. It's not perfect. So it'll notice conjunctions, or it'll notice if you need words to be separated or put together. It'll also notice if you need to have commas, or if you have too many commas. If you have, a lot of times I notice in my writing I use little words like this, the, and I'll put two of them, and then when I proofread it, I don't even notice it at all. So then Grammarly will take it out. And then it's still telling me I messed it up. And then now it's better. And in this little corner, I'll tell you how many different things you have wrong. I have one wrong up here, so I gotta fix that. But that was more of like a little blurb about what I'm going to talk about today. So Grammarly works pretty well everywhere. I downloaded it anywhere you can find Google, and then you type in, you can just use Grammarly. It works on my phone, it works on my laptop, it works on Word and Google Docs. It's worked on different iPhones my friends have used. I have an Android, it works on Android. It's supposed to work on basically any device that you can download Grammarly from, and then you also type in. And it works in informal formats too, kind of like if you write something on Facebook or Twitter. It also works on email, so which is awesome, because I have been using Grammarly and then it says, oh, you used the wrong conjunction, or you need to make this a conjunction instead of two separate words, and it sounds a little bit better this way. When I was looking up the prices and features, I have the free version, which is the one right here, but it tells me I have tone detection, which I don't believe, because I tried to make a really intense tone email that I didn't send to anyone. This is just a mock email. It says, as per my last email, if we do not have this assignment submitted this week, we fail as a group. So obviously very negative, basically to say, hey dummy, we're gonna fail and it's your fault. Just to have like a kind of negative sounding thing, not for anybody. I'm not going to send it to anybody. Just to have that tone, because I wanted to have a tone and I couldn't find it. So I think either something is strange or wrong with how Grammarly is presenting that, because I spent some time trying to find the tone recognition or anything to tell me about it, and it won't. Or it's false advertising, which I think that might be the problem. And it also is constantly trying to upsell you. So it wants me to go to premium. It's telling me I have 2 problems here that I need to fix, but it won't tell me what. It'll tell me like a general idea, but it won't tell me specifically what I got wrong. The overall score is the text is too short. I need to talk more. And then there are different goals you can have. So if you're talking to an expert audience or just like generally people, what kind of emotion you want, what kind of style, formal or informal. Are you telling a story? Are you being descriptive? Things like that. And then it also wants you to go upgrade to Prime again. It'll tell you there's alerts. So I have 2 alerts right here. The correctness, apparently I'm mostly correct. And then my clarity is pretty good. So if I had some, like every now and then you reread old posts or something you wrote and you're like, wow, that makes no sense. This will help you avoid that cringe later on. So for premium, it's not terribly expensive at all. It's only like $12, and then business is $15. So it's really actually very affordable, depending on how much you use it. I don't think there's a limit on how much you can use it, but how much you use it would be a contributing factor, because I wouldn't want to pay for premium or business and only make, like 3 emails a month. But free has been working pretty well for me. So for strengths and weaknesses, its strengths are it can be used on a bunch of different platforms. It can be used on your phone. It can be used on Android or iPhone. It can be used on a bunch of different things. And it's pretty universal. The freest version gives you a lot, helps clean up your writing so that way so it looks like you know what you're doing in grammar. Its weaknesses is that it's not terribly perfect. There are some things that I wrote, like the dog jumped. It was supposed to be jumped, and I didn't know it was supposed to do that. And then this word there, I used the wrong there, and it considered it correct. However, my computer is very, very slow, so it might just need a minute. I guess technically that is correct, so not the intent I totally meant, but you do got to watch out for some things. Not totally perfect. I am a little bit not pleased with the limited stuff you can do with the free version. I understand that everyone needs to make money, but they said that they had the tone in there and they didn't, and so I'm a little bit annoyed with that. Another strength they have is they have their own website where you can go in and find different things about how to improve your writing, about like if you're writing about food, if you're writing formal versus informal, if you're trying to get a job in a small business or trying to create something to write. And then I went to the tone versus mood kind of thing, and it gave me some tips on how to control my tone. And then so like if you, for example, like if you're in a happy mood when you write something, try to reread it in a bad mood and see how it changes. So things like that. Overall, I think Grammarly is pretty cool, but there are some things wrong with it, but I do believe it can help people with any kind of disability. Not any kind of disability, with writing disabilities, and it helps any kind of person.